Yo, what is up YouTube? AJ003 here, and we are back with another video. Before we get started, I just want to tell you guys, leave a like, comment down below, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you never miss a video, and let's get straight into the topic today. I wanted to talk about DeAndre Ayton, because in this playoffs, he's been going absolutely nuts. I believe last time I checked, he's been averaging about 18 and 12 on like an insane 70% shooting from the field. He's been super efficient, he's been really aggressive, and he's just absolutely looked great as the third guy next to Chris Paul and Devin Booker, and as sometimes the second guy because Chris Paul has been injured. So I want to talk about where he would rank among the other centers who he can be compared to, and ultimately find like a range to put him in. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. Now let's get the obvious ones out of the way. Obviously he's not better than Nicola Busavich or Joel Embiid, because those are two MVP caliber players and he just hasn't hit that ceiling yet. Although I do think he might hit that in the future, even though I don't think his ceiling is that high. He has a chance to reach it, but as of right now, he is obviously not better than Nicola Jokic or Joel Embiid. I've also seen a few people make an argument that he's better than Karl-Anthony Towns, and I personally don't believe that. I don't think he has a strong argument against Cat, because as an offensive player, Cat is just out of this world, and DeAndre Ayton just isn't quite there. DeAndre Ayton on offense is a great pick and roll guy. He's a decent post player, and he can definitely finish in the paint. But Cat as an offensive player, with his shooting, with his still good finishing, with his great post moves and footwork, and even with his passing, he's just a world's better offensive player than DeAndre Ayton is right now. He's one of the best offensive centers, probably the best offensive center of all time. And then even though DeAndre Ayton is much better defensively, on defense, Cat is not a horrible defender anymore. He's okay. And even though at the center position that matters more, I still think that him being an okay defender definitely puts him above DeAndre Ayton because of his absolutely insane offense. Next up, in my opinion, we have Bam Adebayo, and in my opinion, I don't really think that DeAndre Ayton could be better than Bam Adebayo. On the offensive end, Bam Adebayo is certainly better in my opinion because of his playmaking, his slight shot creation, and his development from the mid-range. He's still a great pick and roll partner like DeAndre Ayton. He's more athletic. He's definitely a more versatile and has a more varied offensive game, so I would say that Bam is better on that end. And then on the defensive end, he's also better in my opinion because he's still a great rim protector like DeAndre Ayton is. And although DeAndre Ayton has some ability to switch on the perimeter, Bam Adebayo's ability to do that and be more versatile is just much better than DeAndre Ayton's. So because of that, I would say that Bam Adebayo is still definitively better than DeAndre Ayton. So the next guy we have to talk about is Rudy Gobert. And this is where it gets interesting because a lot of recency bias takes have come out because of Rudy Gobert's failure to adjust in the playoffs and the way he got exploited by that 5-out lineup. And while those arguments are still valid, I still want to explore it a little bit because a lot of those takes, even if they may have some validity to them, are fueled by recency bias and a kind of dislike towards Rudy Gobert for some reason. So I just wanted to take a more objective look at this. When you're talking about DeAndre Ayton versus Rudy Gobert, on the defensive end, Rudy Gobert is definitely a better rim protector. He's easily the best rim protector in the league. Although DeAndre Ayton is still a very, very good rim protector, you just can't argue with Rudy Gobert as the best rim protector in the league. But when you go to that versatility and switching out in the perimeter in that 5-out lineup, while DeAndre Ayton isn't the greatest at countering that, he's still a lot more versatile than Rudy Gobert is on the defensive end. Does that make him better because of that, and only because of that? Maybe, maybe not. There's a lot of nuance when you're talking about this, but on the court, he seems to not get as exploited by as much by the Clippers 5-out lineup, although it still has been affecting them heavily. It hasn't affected them nearly as much as Rudy Gobert, where he got completely exposed and he was virtually useless because he doesn't have an offensive game, and that transitions to offense. While DeAndre Ayton is a much better offensive player than Rudy Gobert is. Now, Rudy Gobert has improved over the years, but he's not nearly like great or even good on the offensive end. He's just passable enough to where the Jazz can be a great team, but you can see that in the playoffs, his ability to not punish the smaller player in the post was really definitely a huge problem for the Jazz and was a huge reason why they lost the series against the Clippers. Now, DeAndre Ayton is a pretty good post player. He has a good post hook that he can go to. He's a great pick and roll partner, although Rudy Gobert is as well, but although being shorter than Rudy Gobert, he is more athletic. And when it comes down to it, DeAndre Ayton definitely has an argument against Rudy Gobert because of that versatility on the defensive end that Rudy Gobert just has none of, while DeAndre Ayton has some of it. And while DeAndre Ayton is a better offensive player, so that impact as a two-way player instead of as a one-way player as Rudy Gobert is, you can argue that DeAndre Ayton is better than Rudy Gobert. Now, I think the last player we can realistically have a conversation about is Nicola Busavich. Now, Nicola Busavich is one of the most underrated players and centers in the league because he's a very good offensive player. He can stretch the floor from the 3 and the mid-range. He has a pretty huge bag in the posts. He's like a really good post player, and as a passer for a big, he is pretty solid. Now, where he falters is on the defensive end. When the Magic had all those great defensive teams, it was really headed by Jonathan Isaac and not really Nicola Busavich. Although he's not a bad defender by any means, he's just not great. He's just not nothing to look at on the defensive end. So when you're comparing him to DeAndre Ayton, it's a similar situation to the Cat comparison, but it's not quite the same because although it is just a center in DeAndre Ayton who is a solid offensive player and a great defensive player versus someone like Cat or Busavich who are okay defensive players but like really good offensive players. But I think the difference here is that obviously Cat is an otherworldly offensive player while Busavich is only very good on that end and not in a level where it's like historic like Cat is. So when you're comparing them, there's a very real conversation to be had on whether DeAndre Ayton is definitively better than Nicola Busavich. And if you say he is, then I would not be mad at you at all. If you say there's a significant gap between DeAndre Ayton and Nicola Busavich, or like a tier between DeAndre Ayton and Nicola Busavich, then I wouldn't be mad at you. If you had it the other way around, I wouldn't be mad at you. But the two players that DeAndre Ayton definitely has a case against are Rudy Gobert and Nicola Busavich, in my opinion. So at the end of the day, I think the range that you can realistically place DeAndre Ayton in is about the 5 to 7 range, somewhere in between, like below Bam at 5 and below Busavich at around 7. But the point is, DeAndre Ayton is very good and he deserves to be in these conversations as one of the best centers in the NBA. And I think people are starting to realize that now, even if they're going a little overboard. I think DeAndre Ayton is starting to get some of the recognition that he has deserved for like a year and a half. So thank you guys for watching this video. If you enjoyed, please leave a like, comment down below what do you think about this. Subscribe, hit the notification bell so you never miss a video. Follow me on all my socials in the description. And I'm out. Peace.